First time I ever discovered coding, I was 8 years old on my mother's iPad, playing Angry Birds. I started thinking about how I could make my own app. So the next day, I opened up my computer to try to create one for myself, and I understood nothing. All I saw was a bunch of symbols and numbers that made no sense. After the first hour, I even got so frustrated that I threw my laptop onto the ground. Luckily, it didn't break. Not my laptop, my willingness to code, and I got right back into it. But after a few lessons, 4 different books, and a lot of frustration, I finally learned the basics of Java, a language developed by the company Oracle. What originally intrigued me about Angry Birds is that it was so simple and yet so addictive. And I thought about what would it be like to create my own app. My first success in coding was when, believe it or not, I lost my calculator in 6th grade. I decided to try code one, started to tackle loads of math problems. Over a weekend, I spent hours trying to create my own calculator, researching loads of coding functions, typing and testing many different numbers and variables. And finally, it worked. Accomplishing my first large project took me months of training and hours of staring at numbers, functions, and equations. Coding isn't just typing things into a line and having your computer do something weird. Coding can be a form of electronic art in which you create something out of almost nothing. You can have a blank project, and before you know it, it'll turn into an amazing invention. When a painter starts a project, he won't start with one large detail, smaller details. He works from the ground up. He gets the foundations of the project completed before finishing his actual work. The painter starts with an idea, then after creating his palette, he is free to create his masterpiece on a blank canvas. In coding, this process also happens. When you first start a project, you would have to map out all of your ideas before starting the actual work. In the same way, if I wanted to create a pair of virtual dice that I could roll, I would first need to name the project and get all my resources together. Then little by little, I would add the details that slowly bring the project together. The most important thing I've discovered about coding is that you cannot give up no matter how hard it seems at first. 90% of all coding, for almost everyone, is about the failure and your way of working around it. It is trial and error, and a string of mistakes can't stop you from reaching your goal. Failure isn't a sign to just stop trying. It is used to motivate you to try harder. This can even be applied elsewhere in life. To quote Samuel Beckett, ever tried, ever failed? No matter, try again, fail better. This quote explains about how even if things seem difficult, it doesn't mean to stop trying. It means to try harder in the future. I even created a project on my vacation in Nantucket. I was inspired by Siri on the ferry ride there, and I thought about what it would be like to create my own artificial intelligence. I took out my notebook and started writing down some ideas. Basically, what I did was create a program where I would type into a text box a message, and my AI responds to me. I created it to have many different functions, such as a calendar, calculator, or even a translator. This whole project was created from one small idea that I wrote in my notebook. I called it Jeff. That's an acronym. That remained my secret. Jeff is my stepping stone, just as my first calculator was. Everything you do, no matter how small it may seem, can make a large impact on the world. You just might not know it yet. Being a programmer builds a creative, imaginative mindset. You see possibilities everywhere. That's what I love about it. For example, I've had a dream in my mind to create my own robot to do my everyday tasks, such as reminding me of my school schedule, recording my homework, or even reminding me of my daughter's birthday party, and many other super important things. Over time, the idea has been expanding through my research, daydreams, and even my sleep. I know that maybe one day I'll be able to put a body to Jeff, and even if I don't create a robot, after all the research, it could be useful for another project. As I learn new things, ideas are strengthened, not weakened. Being a programmer can impact your life in so many different ways. It will teach you problem-solving skills through trial and error, and to even get you a job as a developer, a computer scientist, or countless others. And to even help you in math, since half of coding has to do with variables, equations, and formulas. The main reason I even started programming was because of how it can help me later in life, for the satisfying feeling of inventing something of my own. Coding is my passion. I would attain it for many years to come, and I encourage you to find yours. Thank you.